Hello everyone and welcome to my General Hospital Today channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Before hurting Lucky, Cyrus tells Liz, and Drew invites Willow to move in. Before stabbing Lucky Spencer, Cyrus Renaud confessed to Elizabeth Baldwin, according to the General Hospital recap for Wednesday, February 19th. Following the events of Wednesday's episode, Willow Corinthos was also requested to move in by Drew Quartermain. Jocelyn Jacks had a lot going on and chose to donate money instead of giving a speech at Emma Drake's fundraising event at Bobby's. As they became closer, Giovanni Gio Palmieri helped Emma realize that it was best not to push, even though she was a little irritated. Initially filling in for someone, Jocelyn finally found another worker to take over and left. Soon after, Jocelyn broke into Cyrus' hiding place to gather evidence. She kissed Jack Brennan at Carly Spencer's house until Donna Corinthos yelled and cut her off. Because Brennan had studied psychology, she asked him questions after having a nightmare. Brennan received some work-related news on his phone, and had to leave on Carly once Donna went back to bed. In the meantime, Willow and Drew went on a Valentine's Day date to the Savoy. When Willow noticed Brad Cooper sitting at the bar with Lucas Jones, she yelled at Drew about his previous transgressions. Brad resumed his evening with Lucas, complaining about Willow too. Brad appeared to enjoy their time together, even if Lucas eventually made the decision to return home. Drew was then informed by Curtis Ashford that he was no longer welcome at the Savoy. Drew was not allowed in the nightclub, but Willow was free to stay if she so desired. Drew and Willow took off together since he had another surprise for Willow nevertheless. Eventually, after showing Willow his new home, Drew surprised her by asking her to move in with the kids. Harrison Chase told Dante Falconeri back at Bobby's that he couldn't have a child for Brooklyn Quartermain, and Dante agreed. Although he recognized that Chase and Brooklyn had a lot on their minds at the moment, Dante predicted that there will be alternative ways to have a family. After Lulu agitated the man on the other end of the phone, Brooklyn was called in to handle a crucial call at Deception. Brooklyn was upset that Lulu had interrupted her Valentine's Day with Chase after she had extinguished the work fire. Lulu pretended that Brooklyn's life was ideal, and that it was her own fault if she didn't get what she desired. When Brooklyn left, Dante, who had overheard the conversation, told Lulu to stop talking. Dante eventually blurted out that Chase and Brooklyn had recently learned they couldn't have children when Lulu persisted in complaining about Brooklyn and her ideal existence. Since Cyrus knew Elizabeth had been intrigued, he stormed into her home and invited her to ask him questions immediately. Liz questioned why Cyrus attempted to kill Lulu since she was unable to persuade him to quit. Since Lulu's liver issues were caused by his prescription, Cyrus acknowledged that he had targeted her prior to the ventilator incident. But Cyrus wanted to relieve Lulu of her pain and remove her from that abnormal way of being. Sam McCall gave her liver to save Lulu's life. Hence her death was a result of interfering with the objective. At that point, Cyrus realized he could use Digitalis to achieve his objectives. Cyrus maintained that he had no ill will against Dex Heller, despite the fact that he attempted to kill him. Dex was a witness who might have compromised the excellent work Cyrus thought he was doing, which is the true reason Cyrus pursued him. It all came down to the mission and carrying out what Cyrus thought was God's plan. Cyrus admitted that he was angry that his mother was being preserved as a shadow of her former self after Liz brought up his mother as well. Cyrus also attempted to release another Michael Corinthos. Cyrus believed he could assist suffering people in crossing over to the other side, where they would have a far higher chance of success. Cyrus took out a syringe and hoped Liz would understand why he had to do this as well, since she pretended to understand. Cyrus cornered Liz with the syringe and reaffirmed that nothing could stop him from completing the objective. Lucky interrupted at that point and yelled at Cyrus to leave Elizabeth alone. While Liz dialed 911, Lucky got into a fight with Cyrus and decked him. Liz was startled when she looked down and saw that Cyrus had still managed to stab Lucky in the thigh with the Digitalis Syringe. According to General Hospital teasers, Lucky will soon need to be sent to GH. Follow along for more information on this horrifying circumstance. The most recent General Hospital spoilers for Monday, February 17th to Friday, February 21st can be found on soaps.com. Laura is shocked by the news, Jason makes a significant choice, Cyrus plans his next move, and Sasha has to confess. Continue reading for more Port Charles drama. In the recap for today, Liz approaches Cyrus, which might place her at the top of his list of targets. Liz and Anna talk about their possibilities at General Hospital. As Cyrus gets about to grab yet another victim, another one bites the dust, maybe playing on the Port Charles radio station. Read more. Is Cyrus' stay in Port Charles coming to an end? There's strong reason for Carly and Sonny to get along. An examination of Laura Wright's journey from gas station clerk to Emmy-winning performer. Liz and Lucky, two younger detectives, provide Anna with an update. What is causing Mac to feel depressed? What Willow finds out will undoubtedly not please her. Spoilers for Tuesday, February 18th, on General Hospital. In Tuesday's recap, Liz receives a guest, Trina goes on a date, and Chase puts on a show. Chase performs Jeet. Carly is due for a little surprise from potential suitor Brennan, as Valentine's Day begins in Port Charles. Kai and Trina, meantime, spend this most romantic of holidays together. Anna is hoping to reason with Jason. Maxie is determined to get a pair together. Will her attempts at matchmaking be successful? Chase demonstrates that a married man may still spark romance. Lindsay Morgan, a favorite on General Hospital, reveals a significant plot twist. Spoilers for Wednesday, February 19th on General Hospital. Dante shares some crucial information with Lulu. If you believe that Drew and Curtis couldn't get any more tense, believe us. You were mistaken. Willow is taken by surprise. What is Chase venting about? And to whom is he making this confession? Brennan and Carly are interrupted. Will it happen at a very bad time? Spoilers for Thursday, February 20th on General Hospital. Jason is ready to make one of his most important decisions. What terrible news is Laura going to receive? Isaiah and Portia work well together as they attempt to save a life. But will they succeed in their endeavors? Brooke Lynn knows it's time to come to terms with her worries. Jordan devises a strategy. Cameron Matheson talks about how he's putting his new life together after the catastrophe. Friday, February 21st. Spoilers for General Hospital. Anna is going to give Dante some very important news. Sasha has a confession to make. However, with whom will she be speaking the truth? When Drew and Jason have a big argument, brotherly love won't be involved. Brennan needs to take charge of the damage. Lulu is going to get a shock, so she might want to prepare herself. Chase big reveal, Drew's eviction and Cyrus's constant strikes. In today's General Hospital episode, Valentine's Day continues. Let's get straight to the summary. Jack Brennan and Carly Spencer use the same champagne they drank in Germany to honor their special occasion. As Donna calls Carly upstairs, they share a kiss. When Carly takes her downstairs, Jack tells her about the terrible event, and they start to get along. When Jack receives a text, Carly brings Donna back to bed when she finally says goodnight. He gives her one last kiss before departing after telling her that duty calls when she returns. As usual, Emma reads the room incorrectly. Gio Palmieri and Emma Drake stop by for coffee at Bobby's, where Jocelyn Jacks is keeping things running smoothly. Emma becomes irritated when Joss leaves to attend to clients, because she wants to approach her for assistance with her animal cruelty organization. Gio advises her to relax and to get right to the point when she gets back. Emma naturally lashes out when Joss says she doesn't have time to help, and that she is going through a lot, but she will still contribute. Joss suggests that she might be able to assist more in the future, but Emma keeps bringing up the fact that Joss is providing time rather than money. Even after Joss contributes $100, Emma is not happy. Emma and Gio concur that they at least like each other's company. General Hospital recap February 19th. Cyrus attacks continually, Chase big reveals, and Drew is evicted. The life of Chase and Brooke Lynn isn't quite perfect. Dante Falconeri and Harrison Chase run into each other outside of Bobby's and enter together. They discuss Chase singing to his wife on stage at the Savoy. He then confides in Dante about his inability to conceive Brooke Lynn. Dante notes that there are other approaches to starting a family, and that they may choose a different route in the future. Brooke Lynn Quartermain rushes into the office to answer the phone as Lulu Spencer is on the phone at Deception. They then quarrel since Lulu had no trouble spoiling BLQ's Valentine's Day. Why Brooke Lynn doesn't care that the customer is yelling at her on the phone is beyond Lulu's comprehension. According to BLQ, she also doesn't want anyone to yell at her. Because Lulu doesn't pay enough attention to understand who handles what or who does what at Dekpshan, the two quarrel. The conversation then turns personal as Lulu tells BLQ that she will soon have the ideal spouse and children, and that she leads the ideal life. Dante enters the office at that point and ends the altercation. Dante advises Lulu to be lenient with her boss after BLQ departs. When Lulu presses for an explanation, Dante responds that Brooklyn and Chase recently learned they are unable to conceive. After being expelled from the Savoy, Drew finds a new home in Willow. As Curtis Ashford and Portia Robinson celebrate their wonderful evening at the Savoy, Willow Corinthos and Drew Quartermain enter. Curtis believes Drew is using it as a rude power move. Drew and Willow observe Brad Cooper and Lucas Spencer seated next to each other as they sit. The boys also see Willow with her husband's uncle while they are out on a date. Telling the bartender not to serve Drew, Curtis walks up to them. After he asks Drew to go, he goes back to Willow and informs her that their plans have changed and they are departing. He shows her the house he recently purchased, and Willow believes it would be a great place for Scout to live. Then, Drew adds that he believes it is ideal for her and their kids. Willow is shocked when he asks her to move in. The next victim of Cyrus. After spending a lovely Valentine's Day moment with Lucky Spencer, Elizabeth Baldwin discovers Cyrus Renault at her front door. When she tries to close the door, he puts his foot in it and asks if he may come in to talk about something important. He storms into her living room and tells her straight out that he will give her the opportunity to ask him anything she wants to know. She asks why Cyrus attempted to kill Lulu after realizing he won't be leaving. He clarifies that a person should not be kept alive just because they are capable of doing it. He reveals that he wants Lulu to experience the beauty of what is ahead, and to be released from this life. In order to give him the impression that she is an ally, Liz pretends to comprehend his logic as he speaks. He says that he gave Lulu the incorrect prescription, which caused her liver to fail. He felt that by rescuing Lulu from her coma, he was carrying out the will of the Lord, and that Sam's liver donation stood in the way. After using Digitalis on her, he knew which drug to employ to carry on with his work. According to Cyrus, Sam's passing is a result. Liz then inquires as to why Dex Heller had to pass away. He claims that Dex had to get rid of Cyrus in order to carry out his objective because he was a witness and witnessed him with Sam. In addition, he hoped to heal Michael Corinthos' third-degree burns. Liz claims that she is aware that he is using a different form of healing. Lucky bursts through the main door as Cyrus prepares to inject her with Digitalis. Cyrus then turns the needle toward Lucky, but Liz escapes him. After the altercation, Cyrus gives Lucky a leg injection and walks away. Liz notices the needle protruding from Lucky's leg when she returns to the room to inform everyone that the cops are on their way. Is Laura Wright being avoided by Nancy Lee Grahn? Is there a possible explanation for why fans never see them together on the tiny screen? That is the question that everyone has about Laura Wright and Nancy Lee Grahn of General Hospital. Is Nancy Lee Grahn ignoring Laura Wright on General Hospital? Some even speculate that Nancy may be attempting to completely ignore Laura. Nancy even planned back surgery a few years ago to avoid showing Laura any scenes, so this has been going on for a while. Could this indicate that the two women are still at odds with one another? Perhaps or perhaps not. There can only be one queen wearing a crown at a time, though if we've learned anything about this made-up realm in Port Charles. Furthermore, it appears that Nancy maintains relationships with her friends and co-stars outside of filming, whilst Carly does the same. They seem to have established two distinct factions on the program and have remained loyal to them. Do the two women simply want to avoid one another, or do they truly despise each other that much? Time will tell, of course, but for the time being, it appears like Alexis will stop at nothing to avoid Carly in Port Charles, and vice versa. What's actually happening behind the scenes at General Hospital? However, the two characters aren't exactly the best of buddies on screen either. Both of them use devious tactics to obtain custody of Willow and Drew's children. Cyrus confesses to Liz before jabbing Lucky. Drew asks Willow to move in. The sun was setting over Port Charles, casting a golden hue over the bustling town. At General Hospital, the air was thick with tension, as secrets simmered beneath the surface, ready to explode. Liz Weber stood in the hospital corridor, her arms crossed, her expression a mix of frustration and concern. She had been through so much lately, her complicated relationship with Finn, her lingering feelings for Jason, And now the sudden reappearance of Cyrus Renaud in her life. Cyrus, the enigmatic and dangerous figure who had always been a thorn in the side of Port Charles, had requested a private meeting with her. Liz had no idea what to expect, but she knew it couldn't be good. Cyrus stepped out of the shadows, his piercing eyes locking onto hers. "Elizabeth," he said, his voice smooth but laced with an undercurrent of menace. "Thank you for meeting me." Liz frowned, her guard immediately up. "What do you want, Cyrus?" "I don't have time for games." Cyrus smirked, leaning casually against the wall. "Games? Oh, Liz, this is far from a game. I have something important to tell you. Something that could change everything." Liz's heart raced. She had seen enough of Cyrus's manipulations to know that his words were never to be taken lightly. "Spit it out, then. What is it?" Cyrus took a step closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. "It's about Lucky. Your ex-husband. The man you once loved." Liz's eyes widened. "What about Lucky? He's not even in Port Charles anymore. He left to start a new life." Cyrus chuckled darkly. "Oh, but he's back. And he's in danger. Danger that I may or may not have orchestrated." Liz's blood ran cold. "What are you talking about? What have you done?" Cyrus's expression turned serious, his usual smugness replaced by something almost resembling regret. "I've made mistakes, Liz. Big ones. And now I'm trying to make amends. Lucky stumbled onto something he shouldn't have, something that could bring down a lot of powerful people. Including me." Liz's mind raced. She had always known Cyrus was dangerous, but this was on another level. "If you've hurt Lucky, I swear." Cyrus held up a hand, cutting her off. "I haven't hurt him. Yet. But others will if he doesn't back off. That's why I'm here. To warn you. To give you a chance to save him." Liz stared at him, trying to discern the truth in his words. "Why would you care about Lucky? What's in it for you?" Cyrus sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Let's just say I've realized that some things are more important than power and money. Family, for instance. And Lucky, well, he's family." Liz's jaw dropped. "What are you saying?" Cyrus hesitated, then dropped the bombshell. "Lucky is my nephew. My sister's son. I didn't know until recently, but it's true. And as much as I've tried to deny it, I can't let anything happen to him." Liz was stunned. Lucky, the man she had once loved, the father of her children, was related to Cyrus Renaud? It was almost too much to process. This can't be real. Lucky would have told me." Cyrus shrugged. "He doesn't know. Not yet. And if I have my way, he never will. But I need your help, Liz. I need you to convince him to back off before it's too late." Before Liz could respond, a commotion erupted down the hall. Lucky Spencer himself appeared, his face flushed with anger. "Cyrus!" he shouted, storming toward them. "Stay away from her." Cyrus turned to face Lucky, his expression unreadable. "Ah, speak of the devil. Or should I say nephew?" Lucky froze, his eyes narrowing. "What did you just say?" Cyrus smirked. "You heard me. We're family, Lucky. Like it or not." Lucky's fists clenched at his sides. "You're lying. You're always lying." Cyrus stepped closer, his voice low and dangerous. "Am I? Ask your mother. She's the one who kept this secret from you all these years." Lucky looked to Liz, his eyes filled with confusion and betrayal. "Liz, what is he talking about?" Liz shook her head, tears welling up in her eyes. "I don't know, Lucky. He just told me. I don't know what to believe." Before anyone could say another word, Cyrus pulled a syringe from his pocket and jabbed it into Lucky's neck. Lucky's eyes widened in shock before he crumpled to the ground, unconscious. Liz screamed, dropping to her knees beside Lucky. "What have you done?" Cyrus stepped back, his expression cold. "What I had to do. He'll be fine. But he needs to stay out of the way for a while. For his own good." Liz glared at him, her voice trembling with rage. "You're a monster." Cyrus's eyes softened for a moment, but he quickly masked it with his usual arrogance. "Maybe. But I'm a monster who's trying to do the right thing. For once." With that, he turned and walked away, leaving Liz to deal with the fallout. Meanwhile, across town, Drew Kane was having a very different kind of conversation. He stood in the living room of his apartment, nervously pacing as he waited for Willow Tate to arrive. Drew had been through a lot in the past few months. His memories of his past life as Jason Morgan had resurfaced, his relationship with Sam had ended, and he had found himself growing closer to Willow. Willow, who had been a source of strength and comfort during his darkest moments. When Willow finally arrived, she looked as beautiful as ever, but there was a hint of worry in her eyes. "Drew, you said you needed to talk. Is everything okay?" Drew took a deep breath, trying to steady his nerves. "Yeah, everything's fine. Better than fine, actually. I've been doing a lot of thinking lately. About us." Willow's eyes widened in surprise. "Us?" Drew nodded, a small smile tugging at his lips. "Yeah, Willow, you've been such an important part of my life these past few months. You've helped me through so much, and I don't know where I'd be without you." Willow's cheeks flushed, and she looked down at her hands. "Drew, I don't know what to say." Drew stepped closer, his voice soft but filled with emotion. "You don't have to say anything. Just listen. I know we've both been through a lot. We've both had our share of heartbreak and loss. But I think we could be really good together. If you're willing to take that chance." Willow looked up at him, her eyes searching his. "Drew, are you saying what I think you're saying?" Drew nodded, his heart pounding in his chest. "I'm saying I want you to move in with me. I want us to build a life together. A real life. Not just as friends but as partners. As more." Willow's breath caught in her throat, and for a moment she was speechless. Then a smile broke out across her face, and she threw her arms around him. "Yes, Drew. Yes, I'll move in with you." Drew hugged her tightly, a wave of relief and joy washing over him. For the first time in a long time, he felt like he was exactly where he was supposed to be. As the night deepened, the lives of the residents of Port Charles continued to intertwine in ways they could never have imagined. Liz sat by Lucky's bedside, praying for him to wake up, while Cyrus lurked in the shadows, his motives still unclear. Drew and Willow celebrated their new beginning, unaware of the storm brewing on the horizon. In Port Charles, nothing was ever simple. Love and betrayal, family and enemies, secrets and lies, it was all part of the fabric of their lives. And as the sun rose on a new day, one thing was certain. The drama was far from over. Chase big reveal, Drew evicted, and Cyrus strikes again and again. The air was thick with tension as the clock ticked closer to midnight. The dimly lit room was filled with the faint hum of whispered conversations, the occasional clink of glasses, and the nervous tapping of feet against the polished wooden floor. Everyone was waiting for the big reveal. The moment Chase had promised would change everything. No one knew exactly what he was planning, but the anticipation was palpable. Chase had always been the wild card, the one who played by his own rules, and tonight was no exception. Drew, sitting in the corner with a glass of whiskey in hand, tried to appear calm, but his knuckles were white from gripping the glass too tightly. He had been on edge ever since Chase had hinted at exposing a secret that could ruin him. Drew had always been careful, or so he thought. He had built his reputation on being untouchable, but Chase had a way of finding cracks in even the most fortified walls. Across the room, Cyrus leaned against the fireplace, his sharp eyes scanning the crowd. He was the wild card's wild card. A man who thrived on chaos and had a knack for striking when least expected. Tonight he was waiting for the perfect moment to make his move, again. The clock struck 12 and the room fell silent. Chase stepped into the center, his signature smirk playing on his lips. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice smooth but laced with an edge, "thank you for coming tonight. I know you're all wondering why I've gathered you here. Well, the wait is over." He paused for effect, letting the tension build. "Tonight, I'm going to reveal something that will change the way you see everything, and everyone, in this room." Drew's heart raced. He knew Chase was talking about him. He had been dreading this moment for weeks, ever since he discovered that Chase had been digging into his past. Drew had tried to stop him, but Chase was relentless. Now it was too late. The damage was done. All he could do was sit there and wait for the axe to fall. Chase pulled a small USB drive from his pocket and held it up for everyone to see. "This," he said, "contains evidence of a betrayal so deep, so calculated, that it will shake this group to its core." He walked over to the laptop on the table and inserted the drive. The screen flickered to life, and a series of documents and images began to appear. Gasps filled the room as the truth was laid bare. Drew's face turned pale as he saw his own name flash across the screen. The documents revealed a web of lies, deceit, and manipulation that stretched back years. Emails, bank statements, and photos painted a picture of a man who had been playing everyone for fools. Drew had been embezzling funds, sabotaging his colleagues, and covering his tracks with ruthless precision. But now the truth was out, and there was no escaping it. The room erupted into chaos. Voices rose in anger and disbelief as everyone turned on Drew. He tried to defend himself, but his words were drowned out by the accusations being hurled at him. Chase stood back, watching with satisfaction as his plan unfolded perfectly. He had waited a long time for this moment, and he was going to savor every second of it. But just as it seemed like Drew was about to be completely destroyed, Cyrus stepped forward. "Wait," he said, his voice cutting through the noise like a knife. Everyone turned to look at him, surprised by his sudden intervention. Cyrus was known for being unpredictable, but no one had expected him to get involved in this. "Before you all pass judgment," Cyrus continued, "there's something you need to know." He reached into his pocket and pulled out his own USB drive. "Chase isn't as innocent as he wants you to believe. In fact, he's been playing all of you just as much as Drew has." The room fell silent again as Cyrus inserted the drive into the laptop. The screen changed, revealing a new set of documents and images. This time it was Chase's secrets that were exposed. The evidence showed that he had been manipulating events behind the scenes, orchestrating the downfall of his rivals while positioning himself as the hero. He had been working with Drew all along, using him as a pawn in his own game. Chase's smirk faded as he realized what was happening. He tried to protest, but Cyrus wasn't done. "You thought you were so clever, didn't you?" Cyrus said, his voice dripping with disdain. "But you made one mistake. You underestimated me." The room was in shock. No one knew what to believe anymore. Drew looked from Chase to Cyrus, his mind racing. He had thought he was the mastermind, but now he realized he had been nothing more than a pawn in a much larger game. And Cyrus, always lurking in the shadows, had been the one pulling the strings all along. But Cyrus wasn't finished. "This isn't just about Chase and Drew," he said. "It's about all of you. You've been so busy fighting each other that you didn't even notice what was really going on. Well, now it's time to wake up." He turned to leave, but before he could go, Drew lunged at him, his face twisted with rage. "You think you can just walk away after this?" Drew shouted. But Cyrus was ready. He sidestepped Drew's attack with ease and delivered a swift blow that sent him sprawling to the floor. "I've already won," Cyrus said calmly, looking down at Drew. "And you? You're finished." With that, he walked out of the room, leaving everyone else to pick up the pieces. The big reveal had turned into a full-blown disaster, and no one knew what would happen next. Chase's plan had backfired spectacularly. Drew had been exposed and humiliated, and Cyrus had once again proven that he was the most dangerous player of them all. But as the dust settled, one thing became clear. This wasn't over. Cyrus had struck again, but his game was far from finished. And everyone in that room knew that it was only a matter of time before he struck again. The aftermath. In the days that followed, the fallout from the big reveal was immense. Drew was evicted from the group, his reputation in tatters. He tried to salvage what was left of his life, but the damage was too great. Chase, meanwhile, went into hiding, licking his wounds and plotting his next move. He had underestimated Cyrus, and it had cost him dearly. But he wasn't ready to give up just yet. Cyrus, on the other hand, was riding high. He had emerged from the chaos unscathed, his reputation as a master manipulator stronger than ever. But he knew that his victory was only temporary. The others would be coming for him, and he needed to stay one step ahead. As the weeks passed, the tension in the group continued to build. Alliances were formed and broken, secrets were uncovered, and betrayals became the norm. It was a game of cat and mouse, with Cyrus always seeming to be one move ahead. But then, just when it seemed like things couldn't get any more complicated, Cyrus struck again. This time, his target was someone no one had expected. He revealed a secret so shocking, so devastating, that it sent shockwaves through the entire group. Once again, he had proven that he was the most dangerous player in the game. And so the cycle continued. Chase, Drew, and the others tried to outmaneuver Cyrus, but he always seemed to be one step ahead. Every time they thought they had him cornered, he would strike again, leaving them reeling. In the end, it became clear that this was more than just a game. It was a battle for power, for control, for survival. And in that battle, there could only be one winner.